Yeah, I don't think you can ignore the question of wages, minimum wages. I mean, how can anyone possibly survive on the minimum wage, and even the one where some companies are raising it to $15? I mean, how do these people survive?
Right now, the truth is wages are going up. They are going up for Americans. The problem is prices are going up faster. So even with higher wages, a lot of families are falling behind. I think that's why COVID and inflation are now tied as the biggest worries for Americans.
Well, isn't that why some Build Back Better has some provisions to help family, like paid family leave or things like that, to sort of boost the fact that there may be a greater demand raising wages a bit above minimum wage, but these families have so many other financial pressures weighing on them that it effectively, they're below minimum wage, it seems.
So I think the solution here is stronger economy, better jobs, rising wages, rather than more government checks and more government benefits. They're going to jack up the wages for child care workers, but make it more expensive for average families. It just doesn't make sense.
If you're a progressive, you know that it's essentially impossible to survive on a minimum wage job in the economy of 2021. You also know that Republicans across the country refuse to concede this blatant truth. I'm Caroline Johnson. Thanks for watching. TV host Greta Van Susteren challenged Representative Keivn Brady of Texas to explain how Americans can survive on the federal minimum wage, which is currently set at $7.25 an hour. The representative, of course, depended on blaming Biden and taxes and ultimately fell short of any coherent defense. For the conservative host, this is a remarkable step forward, although she deserves little credit for quite literally stating the obvious. Of course, Brady has no convincing response. For him, it's party politics all day, every day. So let's take this time to go over some very crucial yet basic truths about the state of the minimum wage in the United States. These are not only helpful in framing our understanding of how important it is to raise the minimum wage, but are also very handy tips if you come in contact with any right-wingers like Representative Brady, whose talking points more and more people are seeing through. If the minimum wage had kept pace with productivity over the past 48 years, it would currently be $18.42 an hour. Instead, as I mentioned, it's $7.25. The annual income for a full-time employee working the entire year at the federal minimum wage is $15,080. There are no states where a minimum wage person working 40 hours a week could afford a one-bedroom apartment without paying more than 30% of their income. $7.25 is bad, but you know what's worse? The federal minimum wage for tipped employees like waiters, waitresses, nail salon workers, and parking attendants. That minimum wage currently sits at $2.13 an hour. Raising it to $15 an hour would lift 900,000 Americans out of poverty. And lastly, who would benefit most from this hike? Essential workers. Remember the days in the pandemic when it became clear who ultimately kept our economy going? Not the bankers and businessmen, but essential workers like delivery drivers, grocery store workers, nurses, etc. Statistics show that 47% of essential workers earn less than that currently, despite the fact that millions have worked throughout the pandemic and thousands have even lost their lives. So when people like Representative Brady say that anything Biden does will hurt businesses, let's remember what will actually hurt businesses: not having a workable labor force. We know the minimum wage hike failed at the federal level, but we have to keep up these conversations until it finally changes nationwide. Thanks so much for watching. You can follow me on all platforms at Caro Johnson 917.